one of the favorite makeup trend that you have and one that you wish it will be gone forever?
One makeup trend that I really love is the creativity part. I used to do nail art back then with toothpicks. Yeah, very precisely. I used all the nail art that we have beautiful tools now.
I mean, you're projecting that creativity now. You trained in Dubai, global beauty standards, what it taught you and how it's different here working in the local industry.
So like the Western culture globally, whatever we have seen, it's gone time that something is not here available in India, or I feel the labor or the profession, every kind of profession is a little unpaid here. Underpaid. Hollywood celebs and everything. Here in India, we have like Bollywood inspired the black coal for everybody and anybody.
And what's one of the biggest challenges that you face in?
Challenge, if we say,
Do you have any cafe recommendations for us or any hidden gems in the Tri-City that you would like us to explore?
you have to take me then, okay?
Hi Manveer.
Hi, Manveer.
Hi Malia, hi Mahi, how are we?
We're good. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. But we are really grateful that you are here with us. We are so excited to converse with you and have this fruitful conversation with you about everything and anything.
I'm sure, yeah. Sure, we're pretty good, young. Thank you so much, and I'm so grateful and thankful for this opportunity with Girl Power Talk. I am feeling so excited already. Let's do it.
The feeling feature.
The feeling is mutual. So let's begin. And I think one of the best thing to begin is let's start with your childhood. Please tell us, share with us what is your childhood looks like? Are you this creative one, or this creativity or side of you develop afterwards?
Very interesting question, to be honest. And if I'll be very, very honest, I had an amazing childhood. I grew up in a very good family, like full of doctors. I belong to a joint family. And obviously that comes with a lot of challenges, but it comes with a lot of good things. And like a person I'm a very optimistic person, always looking up to the brighter things in life. So being in a joint family full of doctors, that came with a lot of things that taught me patience, one of them, hard work. Smart work I'll not say, because our parents, they have not really been into a different kind of era. They knew only about the hard work thing. Like, let's keep doing the consistency part, which we have molded it into consistency nowadays. That's hard work. Showing up every day, no matter what. So the early mornings, late nights, because they were almost into the profession of having those emergency duties in the midnight. And we have like our hospital in an area where, they serve 24/7. So that taught me a lot of things. It came with a challenge that my father was not very much available all the time to be there with us, all the dinners and the lunches and the trips that we used to go. But yeah, I mean, what he did is something that brought me here today. So I had a very good childhood from that perspective. And coming to the creative part, I was a creative and the explorer's soul since then. Because my parents, my grandparents, my uncle, aunt, and now my brother too, everybody is a doctor except me. I took non-med back then because I had to do something different.
Yeah.
And I was always into doing something creative and energetic, like let's say sports, dancing, music, though I'm pathetic at that. We relate. But I wanted to explore everything. You never know what suits me, so that's something that has worked for me. I've been exploring everything and anything that was available to me that time. So we had like one hobby to choose every year in the school premises. I took dancing for a year, I took music for a year, I took painting the next year, and third year I ended up again into dancing and painting. So I used to save everything that used to come, the wedding trays, every ribbon with the wrapper, all the birthday gift wrappers I used to save and make something out of it. So I used to title myself, somebody who is creating treasure from the trash. So I've always been the creative soul. So I think that goes back then. I was the creative one.
Oh my god, I mean, you're projecting that creativity, And I really love that. How would you, explore things? Because as you said, that you never know what you were into, like what you're passionate about. Because I think going away from the tradition and all the, being a doctor and stuff is not really traditional, but I think it's a fun way to much knowing yourself more and knowing what you don't like, what you like, what is pretty about life, and I think that's the beauty in it.
Because everybody expecting the doctor parents daughter to be a doctor only. I mean, I'm the eldest daughter. I have a brother, and my uncle and aunt have two sons. Everybody's like, obviously, doctor, you will be a doctor only, why not this, why not that? But I'm so glad, like, my parents didn't insist too. Like, they were like, okay, go explore yourselves, it's fine, we are here for you. So I've been blessed in that which ways. And one more thing that I would really like to mention, I'm sorry, the creativity part, I used to do nail art back then with toothpicks. Right. Very precisely. I used all the nail art that we have, beautiful tools now, all that. I used to save every stud or every little bindi that we had and used to put it on myself, different colors with all the toothpick and everything, creating a box, like big boxes I used to save for all my nails. And then I used to have like every color in my box and I used to do it with toothpicks. So being this race and
That is really interesting to know, and especially like coming from a traditional Indian family, you are expected to follow certain traditional values and paths. So you've always been the creative one, I can guess that. What I'm curious to know is, Manvi, that since like childhood, you must have had that passion for makeup, or like you mentioned about the nail art and everything. So what was that one tipping point or that incident that made you, realize that, okay, I love makeup and this is something that I want to pursue and this is like going to be it of my career? What was that one incident?
If we talk about makeup, very funny story. But I actually found nothing that I would fall in love with makeup, but I had something happen, like an event 2-3 times, which made me hate makeup, and then I was like, oh my god, I have to learn it. I'll tell you funny story. I don't remember the exact time though, but I think I was in my first year of graduation while I was doing my BTech. We had like a family event, and in Delhi there was a group of people, like the salon people, they hired for the group makeups like we do today also. The trend then was to put everything same, like if the same liner for you also, and for me also. Yeah. But that's now how it is done. But we were not very much aware. The same shade, they'll take the same bottle, do the same color and everybody. So my mother, by God's grace, she's a very pretty lady and she was not into makeup, so something and everything. She's naturally beautiful. And the moment we stepped out of there and we saw her pictures, she looked horrible. Oh my god. Then trust me, I'm so happy that we don't have a picture of that. I am so glad. My mother and I still sit sometimes and we only picture ourselves. Oh my god, what were we looking? And again, I took that leap of faith again after when I went into a job. And then I had my brother's wedding in Delhi, one of my cousins. So I again went for the hairdo and I ended up having a makeup again at a salon. Then again I looked horrible. Still my friends hold those pictures for me, teasing me that we'll make your pictures someday. I was like, okay, we look normal without makeup, and people do look nice with makeup.
Yeah.
They have natural enhanced features. I'm talking about like in year 2015, 16. And then the makeup artist trend started coming out during those times. So my bhabhi, she was looking very pretty. I was like, okay, she can look pretty. Why are we looking so funny? That was the moment that I ended up thinking that I have to learn this thing. Yeah. I was a pretty good person at like the liners, even the winged liners for that matter. So I was like, okay, so I can do good liner. I can do few other things also in makeup. So slowly and gradually that landed me into loving makeup. This is how it happened with me. Not something that I fell in love with because of my mother or traditionally how girls do that. It's something like
That is so interesting, and I'm glad that it happened for you. You're here now, so it all worked out.
Yes, and it's so fun too, like, and how, like, maybe like thinking about it and remembering it now, it makes you realize that, oh, the worst thing made me love this one.
It's like destiny or fate or something.
It put me here in this spot right now. That
thank them now that they did this with her mother most of the time. And they're like, no, now she's only comfortable for getting the makeup done from me, but not anybody else. Now this happened.
Yeah.
that's pretty fun, but at the same time, it's kind of, you know, amazing also. Yeah, how do you look at it optimistically? But but looking at this, like, aside from this incident or aside from this turning points in your life, like, do you have any makeup artists in your life that you really look up to, who inspired you to pursue this field, you know, and this, you know, someone who really, like, you admired their work or something?
Yes, I have a lot, to be honest. But yeah, to name a few, the first on my mind is somebody who I learned from when I was in Dubai. His name is Rafael Oliver. So he's a Brazilian makeup artist. And I, being a eyeliner obsessed girl always, and the winged one and everything, he does it amazingly well, like amazingly well. With those precise little brushes, the angled brushes, how he does that, I was in awe. I was always like, if I have that, kind of platform wherein I can jump from learning nationally to internationally and I can invest that much, I will go and learn from him. So luckily that happened in my journey very soon, and I had the opportunity to learn from him. And the way he harmonizes all the different colors of the on the eyes that he plays with, though obviously it's not very much required and needed here by the brides and everything, but I think a person should be a versatile artist always. You never know, like, what kind of bride are you going to get, or what kind of nowadays shoots are very common, the concept based shoots and everything, the runway shows, the fashion shows, the industry that, you know, I've worked with, like Punjabi industry also. So you never know, like, what opportunity comes your way. You should know how it has been done, how it should be done. It's not like you should be standing there, oh, I don't know what to do. So one thing that I wanted to learn was this from him. Then comes Pooja Khurana. I love her soft makeup, bridal looks that she does. And her videos are like a therapy to me. If I'm like not okay, I'm feeling low, I'll just go watch her video. How smoothly she does everything. How she is as a person. I really resonate with her for like a lot of reasons. And then for another reason, not like a makeup thing, but yeah, she's a makeup artist, Bhumika Bal. I love like the kind of boss lady she is. Yeah. Whosoever is into makeup or maybe not into makeup or whatever age group, but I guess whosoever is on Instagram knows who Bhumika Bal is. Because she has portrayed herself like that on the social media, the presence that she creates, post every day, not bothering, looking for validation, ignoring everything. So yeah, I think different kind of things to learn from different kind of artists. There are many, like I love Sugandh Khanna, I like Manroom here we have. So there are a lot if I have in my mind, but yeah, for different perspectives, I love Urfa as in that.
It's actually amazing how you get inspiration from different people, because different people, as you said, have different personalities, have different skills too, and different way to offer you that knowledge. And when you observe different things too, you learn one by one from them. And it's good because sometimes people like, oh, I look up this person, so I'll follow this path. But it's kind of, sometimes it makes us feel like, why am I just copying his work, or am I just like this?
Yeah. That's very good that you mentioned this, because you see mostly like there are students, maybe let's say, who learned from Rafael, or maybe you learn from Bhumika, maybe you learn from Pooja, maybe from Manroop or Sugandh. What they'll do is they'll try and copy the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. I don't mind. I have huge respect for everybody. It's not like that. But as a person that I have been, I make sure to create my style out of it. If you see my profile, again, any kind of client can come. If you come with tomorrow, like, where are you getting married? Or maybe you will be artist till then. Like, you never know. You'll come like you want a very soft look, and you just want to look yourself, just this and that, and maybe you come with like, I want a full glam with all the colors, I want to play this.
Yeah.
I will be there to offer both of you according to yourself, with my guidance according to your features. That will enhance. But yeah, I would not want to copy paste what I do on her and what I do on you. So this is something I want to keep myself.
Yeah.
That I don't want to create one signature thing, but I want to offer everything for the client who's coming for me in makeup. Yeah, because you should know and you should cater to everybody. This is what I believe.
Yeah, exactly. It is so important to have that originality, like you mentioned. And we both have seen your Instagram profile, and we do know that you have that sense of originality and style, according to whosoever is, coming to your studio to get that done. Like growing up an Indian myself, so I know that this profession comes with a lot of stereotypes, a lot of traditional notions that, you shouldn't be doing this, you should have the traditional path, like we say, go into tech or doctors as both your parents were. So did you get like a support from your community earlier on when you decided to pursue this as a passion, as a career? So did you get that support, or was it like you faced little challenges there, then it came to your family?
It was a mix of both.
Yeah.
Though I am a millennial, but I think I had that soul of Gen Zs back then also. So I've always been a little rebel types. But what I always made sure was to communicate and to explain things. Let's say I have like family where I have my grandparents and their opinions matter to me, their blessings matter to me, the values that they've shared. We're a very God-fearing family. So everything comes with that, and their status that they have maintained, everything comes with that. So I made sure when I stepped into this, it was not very easy, but a big thanks to my mother for that. My father, my brother, they all were like, we are here for you. But are you sure you want to finally do this? Because I have been in a very different journey, BTech, non-med, BTech, MBA, private job, then government job, and then finally shifting into something totally like the opposite pole, not even in the same industry near I, but totally opposite. But then I made sure to communicate them, come up with a plan that I will be doing this, how I will be doing this. I made sure that obviously they had a very different kind of network. They couldn't help me that way. I chose a very different line where I had to go explore myself. I went out, I talked to a lot of different kinds of people in the same industry, texted them, asked for the guidance, what their journey has been like. I slowly and gradually found that yes, I can do this. I am good at this, I can. So I explained them. I used to, if I had like early mornings or late nights, that's something I always ran from though. But still, I made sure whenever I'm home, I'll sit with my grandparents. I'll explain them, show them my videos. I remember I used to show every video to my grandmother. Look what I did. Look how is she looking. And today, after 3.5 years, my grandfather is always looking up when I'll be home and what new I have done. What transformations I have done. He loves looking at my videos now. So I communicated in a very effective way to them so that they understand. Because they have not been into our kind of things, our kind of exposure. So it's our duty as kids, like very good children. If they have provided the best, we should guide them at least. We should tell them. And I am very sure that people do understand.
Yeah.
So that's how my journey has been. And my mother has been very supportive all throughout. Though it was a very difficult thing for her to, do after. She's a government employee herself.
Yeah.
She's a doctor. So she knew, she was very skeptical. She was like, why don't you continue with the job and then see how things work. Many of people suggested. But then this industry now, trust me, it's a full-time thing. It's not a side gig anymore. Since like a long time ago, it is not. It's a full-time thing. It involves a lot of factors, not just the weekends, all the weekdays, the shoots that you have to do. You have to work all through the year, the ads that you have to work on, like how do you portray yourself on the Instagram, making reels. It's such a task. I mean, it's not easy at all. I'm sure you guys know because we do the same things. So it takes a lot of toll on your mind, on your mental health, physical health. So you have to be on point. So I make sure to communicate this also to them, that if I'm scrolling, look, I'm working. So they'll be like, every kid nowadays is on their phone, pick up me up. So I'll be like, we don't have any option. Sometimes I feel like I should just keep away my phone, but I can't.
Yes.
I cannot. So this is how I think we should, and I did, and it worked for me. Communicated very nicely, so they understood. It took time, but they understood eventually.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they did, and they were very supportive about it, especially since you mentioned your mother. I think Indian parents have this notion that, they're always skeptical of like choosing an unconventional path, so to say. But once you do, they see the results and they're like very proud of what results you know. So I'm so glad that it happened for you, and I am sure anybody who's watching this has to understand that every profession takes a lot of hard work. And it's not about the creative side, it's not a side hobby, it's not about you being in corporate and not working harder than somebody who is in a makeup artist profession. So that is something that we all need to understand, definitely.
Yeah, and I think like support is not really like when you're starting something new, it will not be given to you 100%. So that's why it's good that you communicate. And I think I really learn a lot, and I resonate with it a lot because, changing and having new decisions for yourself is, of course, parents are very skeptical, very concerned, like what you gonna do with it, what your future will be like. And I think that's understandable, but you communicated it well. It will be like, okay, I understand it. One step at a time.
Let's at least give a chance.
Yeah, get a chance.
So you trained in Dubai, and now you're based here in Chandigarh. So your experience like? What the beauty standards there, the global beauty standards, what it taught you, and how it's different here working in the local industry. So if you can share with us that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Though India now has everything and anything, I believe, to be very honest. Like everything is available, every trend is trending here also, like the Western culture globally, whatever we have seen. It's gone time that something is not here available in India, or people are not doing it that way, how Western people do it. What all goes into, and even if we have to travel at your location, come on, I mean, there were times where you had to go to somebody's place. Now, freelancing has made it so easy that whatever corner you're marrying, we'll be there for you. However the road is, however the journey is, you will see us smiling and giving you the best services. It comes with a lot of things. You cannot question every penny that you are paying to us. This is for this particular amount, this foundation is for this eye makeup is for this, you're applying just this amount, why are you charging this? So this is something I feel it's little not okay yet here in India. They're like mostly inspired from Hollywood celebs and everything, having that kind of perfect chiseled face all the time, big eyes and the colored eyes and everything that they do. And here in India we have like Bollywood inspired, the black coal for everybody and anybody. I think, but with time this trend has also changed. People in India have started being comfortable in their own skin tones, natural, whatever texture that they have, they're okay with that, thanks to social media creators, and everybody was, normalized that, okay, if you have pores, I do have. If you zoom in, obviously they'll be busy. I cannot be a magician. Like, makeup artist is not magicians or, somebody who will just change you in the whole, day. So these trends, like, I think, have now been better with time in India. This was something that I was seeing initially when I started, but now after like 3.5 years journey, people are very much okay with being their own selves, not being somebody that they have in their mind.
Yeah, because I think this industry is, has a set of its own challenges too. Like, and when you mention about like a lot of industries also experience that kind of free work, free labor without really understanding that you took a lot of effort or your skills and learned a lot of skills to just deliver that and offer that kind of service, good and excellent service to people. But I think we can relate to that as a writer ourselves. Like when you write, other people will just ask like, oh, what will be your, when you write something, what would be it? So how much is it? That your value is being questioned every time you put out something. And it's really good. I think like the social media right now is giving you that kind of platform. And I think that's really good thing.
Yes.
That, a lot of makeup artists, makeup artists and social media content creator also like do those stuff. And I think they make it and they pave the way to make it more, the industry will be more of appreciative or something like that. And that they also, a lot of people scroll social media and when they see you and like, oh my god, how they do this, and they understand that it takes a lot of work too. And I guess that's make also this social media good for the content creators itself.
This social media generation, I think, has helped us understand a lot of things about our bodies, our colors, like you said, being comfortable in skin. I think India had this notion that, we are not fair skinned, so it's not, we shouldn't be very comfortable about it. It's also makeup artists like you make your clients feel comfortable in their own skin so that they feel confident enough to put themselves out in the world. I think that's super important. Manvi, I would just like to know that what was like one rewarding part of your career that you've come so far, tried out different fields after that you've set on one, and what's one of the biggest challenges that you face and how do you deal with that? Because we don't know how to deal with challenges. So we would love to know from your side, how do you deal with all of the challenges?
Okay, the most rewarding thing I believe is the confidence that I've built all through this journey of mine. I was obviously like, no doubt I was the explorer soul, but I was a protected soul too. I mean, a protected kid too. Like I had a back to look to where my parents were there and everybody had a good friend circle and everything. But yeah, something that I've learned over the years is confidence in myself and believing who you really are. So that has really shaped up in a very nicer way, and the most reward, I mean, there are a lot of things. If I look back to my journey, this particular industry has shaped me as Manveer in the best possible way, and it's the whole journey that has been rewarding. Yeah, this is something that I had.
Yeah. And it,
Challenge, if we say, I will not portray it as a challenge, but as a learning maybe. I was not very much into late nights. My whole family is a doctor. Somebody asked me way back then, why didn't you want to be a doctor or something? I was like, they're up all night, early mornings, no sleep cycle. I love my sleep. I mean, oh my god, look at me. Everybody jokes like in my family. With one side, they are waking up at 2, 3 for the emergencies, and like me waking up 2, 3 a.m. in the night going for my brides. But I'm all up and excited. Let's do this. I'm going. I'll meet my dog. I'll make my coffee and I'll go. So this was something that learning that if it's your calling and if you have a passion for something,
definitely.
Now I know how they were all okay, working late nights because they were passionate about their profession. Now that I am also passionate about this, I'm all okay waking up. Now if you ask me on a normal day, I might wake up 12 o'clock. I won't die, but yeah, if I have to work, I have to work and I'll be there on time always. So this and taking care of myself with the process. First year of my journey, I was like, I just had dinner at 10, 11. How will I be hungry at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning? It's not possible. So I used to leave home without eating anything or that. But then the moment I used to reach, I was so hungry, I couldn't concentrate that way. So I made it a habit to take care of that part. This is how I learned over the time that you have to take care. And if you are awake, obviously, the body is also working. The body will also make the fuel to work. So yeah, this is how just this. I don't think there are a lot of things where I don't take it up and challenge. Just do that.
So since you mentioned about you started getting up early willingly and all of that. So passion makes you do that. When you know that you're passionate about your work, you would want to, get up early. Like you said, it helped you build confidence as well throughout. So when you're doing something that you absolutely enjoy doing, you love doing, you end up building confidence in that particular field. You end up taking care of yourself as well. Self-care is very important. And that passion really helps you do that and become the best version of yourselves. Because sometimes we just forget in today's times that, we have to take care of ourselves. It's important to pause. It's important to give yourself a break. And I think with the generation that's coming up, Gen Z is really breaking those rules, and they're actually, trying to set boundaries even when they're working, even when it's about their professions, like passions also. They know how to do that, and I think that's super important for us to keep in mind. Yeah.
I mean, I think like when you taking care of yourself, it's a part of works too.
Yeah.
Right. Because
presenting yourself after all, like whether it's my kind of profession, whether it's you guys coming up to office, one person I believe, and I always had in my mind, that I have to do something big which is associated with my name, Manveer. And way back then I was not very fond of my name, to be honest. I was like, okay, that's a unisex name actually. And I had guys in my school and one of my college also named Manveer. I was like, why did you keep this name for me? But if I see it today, there's no makeup artist with the name of Manveer Kaur. And I was so happy. I was like, thank you, Mama. Okay, now you're being pampered. So yeah, I mean, everything makes sense. And I have been a firm believer that it's your journey. It's everything is happening for a reason.
Yeah.
If I've left something behind, maybe I was not very sure about it. Maybe I was skeptical. But I always followed my heart.
Yeah.
And I've always been my raw self. Honest with my things, which today's generation is, doing it perfectly. Maybe, that comes with a lot of challenges. Being honest comes with a lot of challenges. Or, to be honest, in your career also, in your relationships also. But that will make you and keep you alive because you've done something which your heart said is right. Listening to your gut and in your intuition, that's very important.
Exactly. Because when you're going into somewhere, you really have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because yourself is the end. Like, nobody will say that, no, it should be this or should be that way. Because at the end of the day, it's you who will feel that kind of success, that kind of struggles, And it's the beauty in it, the beauty and the struggle in it, right? And I think I am really appreciating Manveer when you said that I'm not, what do you call it, that perceive this kind of challenges as challenges itself, but as learning. Because when you are going through a path, it's learning. You're learning something. You're getting something from it. You'll absorb things from it. And then you use that for your own benefit. And I think that's what matters more. So let me ask about this. This is the fun part. Because, social media right now, with all the makeup trends, since 20-something, when all the social media boom and all those stuff.
After COVID, I guess. It's like the real...
Yes. We have this Arabian makeup, the Latin American makeup, Korean, and all those stuff, the clean girl look, and all those stuff. So, if I may ask, what is one of the favorite makeup trend that you have, and one that you wish it will be gone forever?
There will be many for that matter, but one makeup trend that I really love is clean base, like good eyes. According to your eye shape, doing something nicely and on your eyes, that I love. Like elevating your features in the right way, not putting the same thing everywhere. Clean base with little glossy lips and good eyes with a tight line or a normal eyeliner or just a eyeliner on the upper lid, kajal on the upper lid. So something playing with all these things. I love that. The flushy cheeks, feeling yourself in that I love the trend. But yes, it's not for the brides, that I'll say. That's for a daily makeup look that you have to carry or for a friend's party or for the wedding and everything. But for brides, the makeup trend, if I love something, will be something that's long lasting. for sure, because we are there for like 3-4 hours with them. We'll just make sure that they are looking good, but we have to make sure as a bridal makeup artist, because I'm into that. So one thing that I want people to know is that the makeup should long last. We'll be not there with you after those 3 hours, but you have a long night or a day to carry. You have to look like a bride from the morning till the night, and the makeup should not come off. So that, and the makeup will look like makeup. So different trends for a everyday look that I love, and for bride that I love. So this, and something that I want to
Just disappear.
one thing is putting on a lip liner and not merging it.
Oh, makes sense.
We're amateurs, so you wouldn't know.
Like, remember, like sometimes during those old times,
Yeah, it used to be visible.
yeah, like just the liner, a different shade, not merging it together and not harmonizing all those shades and everything. No, please, ma'am, no. And then you want to go forever and ever, and like big blocky brows, because brows do shape your face perfectly. I have a very light brow, like obviously made them like this. But if you observe somebody with a nice brows, like the face will, the dimension will look very different, and somebody with a lighter brows will look very different. Somebody who is a brow starting from hair and going till hair will have a droopy face. Somebody with brows like mine, I have, over the years, my brows were not like that. I have just experimented with these also a lot, like a lot, making short plucking from hair and hair, experimenting. So this makes little up your face look little uplifted if they end hair. So something I want people to just go away from that thought that brows should be bushy, dark and long and thick. No, sometimes the thinner brows also looks nice. So these little details that I focus on, these things I want that people should know.
It's fun. And I can relate with the brow blindness, because a lot of people do like laminate their brows, right? And then like putting everything up and then just filling it out, and it's very, very dark. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people
And
do
you're
that.
putting on a black pencil for the brows, a big no. You should always use shades of dark brown, not black. Like this, like a lot of people don't know. So this is a tip, like a makeup tip: browns for your brows.
I'm so guilty of my
I think we've all learned this now. We know this now.
Because I tried having my brows before and it's black. I put it and I'm like, why do I look like this?
But like you said, experimenting, I think we all should do that with our faces. Try a little here and there. And clear thing, I think we both like that. Marley and I, we like that, the clear gloss flip, and like you mentioned, that's like a trend that should not disappear. It's like a very clean girl look, and even it's like for college, for office, anywhere, everywhere. Yeah, you can just
Makeup is a confidence thing, I think. The moment you put a little something on, because I believe every girl is very beautiful. They're blessed with different kind of features. It's just that sometimes they're just, little dull at times. Like my brows are lighter. Then what? I can obviously fill it up. We are blessed to have such good products. My lips are little small, and if I am not okay with that, I'll just do a lip liner and then merge it. So I think it's the confidence that you get with the makeup done in the right ways. Why not?
Definitely. Manveer, since you decided to pursue an MBA as well, and you told us that you're a BTech, so what made you, change that path, and how have you reached so far? Or what, it must have shaped your perspective also in a different manner when it comes to creativity, business, growth in general. So what made you change from that traditional path?
Very interesting. The first thing that I tell, like whenever I meet anybody or any of my client or somebody, they'll be like, whosoever knows me, they'll be like, oh my god, why? Oh my god, how? You have a government job? Because I did a government job too, that I was telling you. So the notion that Indians especially have it, like having a government job is the end of your life, the best thing that you could have achieved in your life and whatnot. But then being there, I had learnings, but I found myself stuck in that situation. And as I told you, I have been listening to my heart. I have been blessed by a family who listened to my opinions. respected my opinions. So I chose my heart again. I found my calling in doing something creative out of the box. I was not fitting in right. So this happened all through the journey. After BTech, I wanted to go into MTech because all my friends were going. But then my mother somehow insisted for MBA. Okay, we had an exam, I cleared. I was not very studious, but yes, I scored good enough, always, by God's grace. So that journey landed me into MBA. And since then, I was very sure that I was a very shy girl in my VTech also and every time. But in MBA, I was like, I'll talk to a lot of people. From there, I think I had this networking thing. I was with my seniors, my batchmates, then the juniors came. I made sure to talk with everybody around, participate in everything that's going on, every event. Then I landed up into a job. Like it was a dream job for anybody, I'll say. It was a sales job. I never thought I'd do sales in my life. I was like a HR girl, maybe. I thought I'll be a HR girl. But then I ended up in a sales job, and I would like to share. Imagine like we were in MBA, we were taught if you have to sell something for a job interview for the sales, you can sell a pen, a notebook or a watch or something. We were, just given this example. I had no idea when I was getting a call that day from that particular company. And that happened like immediately, and they were like, what would you like to sell? My interviewer asked. And I was like, handmade cards. And that was so, I don't even know how and where and why, but she was very much interested, and I was again the different one. I mean, I've always been this, that I wanted to do something different and creative. So she was like, why? And why would you sell handmade cards to a corporate company? And I was like, you have employees there. You would want to greet them on their birthdays or their anniversaries or something that they've done. So why not do it in a very personalized way where you will be signing the card, I'll make according to them. So they, I explored myself along this journey that this something that stick with me all through was my creativity, my personalized feeling of, putting my personal feelings into everything, that warmth and that everything. So kind of that led me to this career, I believe, slowly and gradually, wherein I get to meet people, I get a chance to make them smile. I'm very excited when I see my brides happy. Yeah, something that I'm okay getting about 2 p.m. is like, just be, oh my God, I look so nice, and all thanks to you. So I'm like, obviously you're very beautiful. I just enhanced it.
Yeah.
But this is something. Yeah.
Definitely. I think that choosing this path after an MBA, after the traditional path that you were doing, you had a good job. It must have come with its own challenges, but you did it beautifully. And like you said, your passion, your bride smiling, that's what makes you happy. So I think that happens with every profession, that, your clients, their reviews, their happiness is what makes you pursue it further and, just be the best at your work. And I think, Manvi, you're doing that brilliantly. You are the best at your job. And soon, you really need to get a lot of lessons.
And speaking of the challenges, I know that you've answered this, the whole lot of challenges and learnings that you get into your life. But the makeup industry is very intense challenge when it comes to, the kind of problem with the beauty standards, comparison, and stereotypes that you could, imagine being in that makeup industry. So how do you deal with it? How do you keep up your confidence? How do you, cope with that stereotypes and all those stuff? And how could you advise people, if they are, of course, we are experiencing some kind of stereotypes in our own, culture and all those stuff. And maybe when we will be in the makeup industry too, we will face this. Maybe we will face this kind of stereotypes, and they said, oh, you're not good with this makeup, or you're not very beautiful when why you're not, doing makeup and all those stuff. So how do you cope with it, and what advice would you give to people wanting to, pursue this path?
That was a very nice question and very important one, for that matter, for women especially, that we need to be comfortable in our body shapes and whatever and howsoever we are born with. It's all in our hand. But yes, I do believe with time that I've understood is, if you stay in shape, people do respect you a lot. Because it's the discipline that shows. It's the consistency and the hard work that's shown before you speak anything. The moment you enter and you have a good physique, you look nice, you dress up well, they'll be like, okay, she has put effort into that. She will put effort into whatever she bring to us on the table also. So that's the kind of respect that you get with that. And I think if you want to get fit or something like that, every person knows. I was not okay with myself being unhealthy and having unhealthy habits way back then. But I knew that's inside me. You don't have to body shame other person like that. You're not looking nice. You should lose weight. Now that I've lost weight, they'll be like, you look weak. People will never be satisfied. I mean, they'll be like, eat something. Will we eat something? Come on. I mean, I have lost a certain amount and I eat good. I started eating clean. I started eating good protein, everything. I take better diet than a lot of people around me. But I know how to put forward it very nicely. I will not belittle that. This is what this industry does at times. I do get it, because for a beauty and a fashion industry, they'll be like, if you don't look like one, you don't belong here. How will you make us look like? I do had brides, they'll be like, okay, we know you look nice. I'm sure you'll make us look prettier. Good, but I believe somebody who is not very confident with that, who has a little extra weight on, but the work is so beautiful, that doesn't mean you have to belittle them. It's okay. So I think it's all your mind game. How you have to control your mind about it, that you're okay with yourself. And you have to dress up a certain way at occasions, whatever it is meant for you. And that I had a very obsession for crop top and jeans. I wanted to, but then I didn't wave at them.
Yeah.
I do it now, okay. But what if I had one then?
Yeah.
It's okay if I was okay with that. So I think if you are okay with something, the world will adjust around.
Yeah.
This is something that I have learned with time, and I think every woman should. It's okay. Nobody will ever be happy with whatever you am. So yeah, I have not been very much affected. If you'll ask me, my mind has been a little strong since I don't know what time, but I have been very strong-minded this way, that I will not let anybody define how I look. I ask for suggestions from my mom and my friends. Do I look okay? Does this dress suit nice? But I think that confusion also comes when you are unsure about it. Then only you ask.
Yeah.
So, then you can always go to safe people for something, but don't belittle yourself for anybody around.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the self-doubt that makes you underconfident, and then people around you. Because as we have that saying in Hindi, log to kahenge unka kaam hai kehna. It basically translates to that people will speak. It's their job. But it's about you and how you carry yourself that defines that. And like you mentioned, as women, I think that was very important advice that you gave to all of us, that as women, it's important for us to have that confidence in ourselves so that people will adjust around us eventually. And I think one very important factor is the female friendships or the support that you have around you.
Yeah.
That really defines how you carry yourself and how confident you are in yourself. So what does female friendship mean to you in this industry? Because as we know, makeup industry is very competitive when it comes to females and the beauty standards and the stereotypical types that we have said, beauty standard types. So what does it mean to you, and how do you manage that ambition with self-care? How do you take care of yourself when it comes to that? So we would just love to know that.
Great. I am a big fan of female friendships, to be very honest. It's everything for me.
Yeah.
The way we can understand each other, men cannot. And I am glad they cannot, because then only we'll have this.
Yeah.
But honestly, I am not bragging about it, but I have never been jealous of any girl around me ever. I don't know how, but the one thing that I feel grateful for is that maybe that comes from my family or my mother, my grandmother, whatever. They're also like that. I never felt jealous of any female around me. I love being around females, uplifting them, talking to them about anything and everything around me. And honestly, I have had amazing friends back in school, college, both the colleges, in my job, and then again in another, both of my jobs. I still am in contact with all of them. And when I stepped into this industry, I was very skeptical, to be honest, because people portray something else, but they are something else, and this is a fact. But again, I ended up landing with amazing friends from this industry also, that we pass on the leads also. I believe if, let's say, you guys are future makeup artists, let's say, that's the thing. Okay, I mean, you have like a booking and you are occupied that day, and maybe I don't have that date booked yet, it's not like an empty date. So, I mean, I would love if we will pass all those. I do that with a lot of people around in my industry, and that too, I've not even met them, few of them, just to Instagram. So this is one thing, to be true and draw yourself on the social media at times also, you connect with the vibe of some people. They know if you're passing on this and your good work, obviously, because they're trusting with you, one of their clients. So this jealousy part, if that would have sustained and people do that, they will say, I don't know any other artist, you please see. But for me, a client has come to me, I would want to help them in any way possible, so I'll pass on. Oh yes, I know somebody, and this has worked really well. I've done a lot of, like we had done, like I've done engagement, she's done bridal, or vice versa. We've done all this also. So that means like a huge deal for me. And if people, I mean, if women understand that, we're always like, we're already like way higher than, better than a lot of guys and men around us.
Exactly.
Jealousy, what? I believe, again, like from a God-fearing family, whatever is meant for you, you will hack it no better. What if something is not meant for me, how hard I try, it will not land up. So this is what I believe in clients also. So why not giving it to a random person who I don't know? Obviously she'll book somebody. Why not my friend? No, it's so good. I mean, I love that. Yeah, and that's what I have, like good friends in this industry.
We love faithful friendships.
People just no drag of time and it's fun.
Yes, and a lot of women usually like give you this kind of confidence too.
The hype that
And like, girl, you can do it. So, even if it's that kind of line, or even if they're there for you just to support you on things, they're just
Even when you're wearing a new dress, you come out of your room and everything's like, wow. That makes you feel confident, and like you mentioned about the stepping in part for your, like you do for your friends and you recommend their names and everything. Even we have experienced that we would be writing something and I'll be like, Miley, I'm sick, can you help me with it? And then she'll just do it. And that's so important, that support system, because you know that you have somebody that's behind your back and you will not also.
And I think like female friendships really thrive when you are good friend too with them. Like it's a vice versa thing. Like, I give you this, you will take this, then they will give you something back.
Yeah.
And that's really, really good when you have a circle of female friends and they get to, and they do that to you, and you also do something for them too, and it's really nice.
It's like an unsaid thing that they understand, without saying. It's like eye to eye thing. Okay, we're having this particular phase going on. Okay, they'll understand. They'll be like, okay, we have to be quiet. We have to just sit by. They'll just sit and be there for it. If we have to talk, you have to just listen. No comments, no arguments, or no advice. They'll just listen. If you want advice, they'll be like that to you. They understand where we are coming from. Because we are, God has made men and women different for a reason. We got to respect that and love being one. And I am so we are blessed to be given as a female.
People have this misconception that female friendships are not very close knitted and they have this jealousy factor and they don't care about each other, they're selfish. But I think that's just, it has never been that case for me. I have always found that support with female friendships. I'm from an all-girls school, so I know now. It's just supportive that way, and it's great to know that you have all been the same at the same time. Yeah.
So, Manveer, if you had a makeup palette in your life, what would it be called? And what shade or which shade of that palette represents your current life right now?
Wow, very interesting. Very interesting. I have been a very different kind of girl, colorful. So I would want to name my journey as the chromatic journey. different colors.
Yeah.
Not just settling with what normal people are doing. Like everybody's having a signature style, but I want to be a versatile one. Okay, people might relate later. Things might come later, but it's okay. I want to do what my own self wants. So I don't just go for the trend thing. So the chromatic journey, like full of colors, exploring different aspects, exploring different kind of makeup artists, learning from different kind of artists that I named, I've learned from them. So this is something like I would like to name. And if I have to name what current shade,
Yeah.
I think it's the same, but it's highly pigmented now. With a few creases, which I'm happy flaunting.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how I would like to, currently represent a nice shade. It's such a beautiful answer.
That's lovely. Like, how would you? Because you know what, your journey overall is like that. It's very colorful. You explore things. You explore colors. You explore shades and all those stuff. There's like gray ones. There's bright ones. But right now you're in this kind of lovely phase that you are in your very beautiful era, It's very pigmented. That it screams, I'm happy. It screams a higher.
Found my calling, found my real self, who Varveer is, what does she wants. It's highly pigmented, chromatic journey, right? Yeah, and I'm not going to stop now that I know. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, definitely.
And we happy creases, line, happy flaunting. It's okay.
We've known you only for like, I don't know, an hour or so, and we can already label you as the colorful, happy, cheerful person. Also, Manveer, since we are talking about exploring a lot, guys, so I just want to ask, I have to ask this, that we're both new to this city, and I'm from India only, but a different city, and Marley's from the Philippines. So, do you have any cafe recommendations for us, or any hidden gems in the Tri-City that you would like us to explore?
You have to take me then, okay? There are a lot, like in here. Like, what kind of cuisines you like?
Anything.
Yeah.
I just think I love to
Like Lord too.
Oh. Then we have to explore all kind of menus because I have a different things in my mind right now. Have you tried chilies?
Yes.
That's a very safe option.
We bag. Yeah.
I'll take it.
She told me this
That's a very safe option, I'll say. That's like a Mexican menu that they have, but it's very nice. And then we have, if you like the breakfast in like a very good place with good aesthetics and nature, close to nature, then we have Tubu here in sector, I think 9 or 8, I guess. It has a very good menu. And then we have Brooklyn Central. It's in Elante, if you've heard the more, and in sector 10 too. Very safe, good food, must try. And if I'm into healthy, clean eating now, 2 top recommendations. Aja, that's a healthy cafe with a huge menu for everything and anything. Amazing. And Back to Source. Amazing food, amazing. And hidden gem, I have started recently exploring. So I go for a late evening or early morning walk on the lake. Must try. For good self-talk or something. Me time. Or, good friends time, like a girl's time and everything. You can always visit the lake.
We have our weekends planned now. We have to explore everything. And you're joining us. You come in and I love to it.
I think it's lovely that you have this different recommendation for each. Like, I like this place for the solo time, and I like this place for the friends time. And I think that's a good thing because each place is very different vibe, a very different feeling. So we'd love to explore it more too.
I'm sure you love.
I know it's near to our end, but I don't want it. But I like talking to. We really love conversing with you. You gave us a lot of insights, and that kind of advice, the energy that you're giving right now. It's so very positive, and we really love it. So for our last question, we would like to ask, as we are young feminists ourselves, and if you could give your advice, any advice to your younger self, to us maybe, what would it be?
Very interesting, because I think there's a trend also going on, no? That you're speaking to the younger self. I don't know how to do that. It's little, bad at tech yet, but there's a lot of things. But still, I'm very grateful for my journey that I had. But something that I can advise myself is not asking for validation from people around you. No, that was something I would want to, have learned early on. I have recently, improved on this part, still figuring out, I won't lie. Obviously, it matters, the people around you, your relationships and everything, your family, your friends. Because for my friends, they're also like a family to me. They've always been. So it does matter. But looking for validation, something that I think we should not do. Take guidance, take support, ask for advice, but do what your gut says, because I believe you know what you're good at. And you know with what deed you do in a day, you will end up sleeping peacefully or not. I preach by this. If I do something and I'm okay with the thought with that thought at night, okay, like I did whatever in a day, that's fine for me then. If I'm able to sleep peacefully, if I had done something. If I've done something wrong, obviously I would not be peacefully sleeping. Rather than answering and over-explaining why I did this, how I did that, I would have advised my younger self to not do that. So yeah, validation and over-explaining myself. I have been a queen of over-explaining. Though that worked in my family or my profession. So doing that at the right pace. You have to explain. Like obviously,
Definitely.
if I am in a zone where I'm teaching somebody, like I teach makeup, so I have to give in and outs of everything. I have to be like a non-stop, chatterbox, sharing all my information. But wherever it's not required, that why I'm doing something and any random person asking me why you quit your government job and doing this, there I'll be having one simple line as an answer, not over-explaining my whole journey. So this difference. And more of self-awareness, like a very good example that I have in my mind. Like I was a chai person. Every morning ritual we had at our place was getting up early in the morning, having chai with biscuits or cookies or rusk and everything. And that continued in the college also, because I had friends, they also like chai. Maybe they also liked because their family had that. But when I shifted to working and into my job, into this profession and meeting and exploring, I found that I'm not a very chai person. It is not very good for my gut. I analyzed myself. I also knew way back then I had a lot of gut issues and everything, but I was not able to identify why. So self-awareness about your own self, like what do you want as a person. So these all things. It's a little silly example though, but knowing if you're really that person, or it's coming out of a situationship that you are in, or an environment that you are in, or do you really want to do anything and everything. Like way back then I didn't want to be a doctor because I was not a night person, I thought. But look at me, I'm doing that thing. But it was just the passion that was missing. I didn't want to be a doctor because of some other reason, but not the sleep for sure. Because then you can balance out. So these things I would like to advise. But otherwise, I'm very grateful for my journey, because everything was a learning and a stepping stone for where I am and where I will be.
Yes. Being self-aware is so important, because with the age of digital era, we have everything on social media and people try to be that person that they are not. Like with the whole matcha thing, if I take it as an example. A lot of people don't even like it, but they still have it. So it's so just to be cool, just to be cool.
And post. Yeah, we also had this.
That we can, click a picture for the brand.
Even fashion too.
Yeah.
Like how they dress. Like it's a very trendy, trendy topic. But actually we are taking all the insights, especially the validation thing and the overexplaining. I really resonate with that. Because because when you are new in the work environment, I would say, for example, if I am new in this job, I would say that I will do my best. I will make this really good work so they will, notice me and at least acknowledge my effort and all those stuff. But I think it's not always the same again, it will not always go the things that we wanted to go. And I think that what really matters is you're aware that if you really like this, you go for it.
Yeah.
And if you really want this, do it.
See, just try.
Yes.
What worst can happen?
Yes.
Nothing. Think about like that if career-wise or relationship, what worst can happen?
Yeah.
I always think it like that. And it's actually not that big if we think like that.
Yeah.
What? Nothing. It's nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all in the mindset, I believe.
So, as we come to the end of this podcast, Manvi, thank you so much for joining us, and it was lovely talking to you. I think we've all learned a lot. We've all taken a lot of advices back home, especially, being self-confident, having that supportive friendship around you, just exploring new paths, because you never know what might work for you. So, thank you so much for being here with us. And yeah, I don't want this to end, but
Are you so good, and thank you so much. It was my pleasure being here with you guys. I would love to hang out with you guys. So.
you should plan.
Thank you so much, Anvi.